When people seek to retire, it's almost like they're shortening their own lifespans. For decades, he was looking forward to not working, and after a week of not working, he quickly realized, all right, so this is my honest advice to anyone working past the age of 60. Now, before I give my actual 2 cents, I want to say this. Obviously, I'm not 60. Obviously, I'm not close to being 60. But I want to share my insights because I feel like there's a lot of people who feel like they need to be retiring or who may be upset that in their 60s, they still need to work. So this is just my thought process about this because I'm going to be fully transparent. Personally, I have no desire to ever stop working. I've said that to different people on different podcasts I've been on and people I know personally. And I feel like I sometimes get like a weird look, like, what do you mean you always want to work? This is my thought process. This is kind of like my idea on work. I think a lot of people misunderstand what work is. I think they misunderstand what work is in a variety of ways, but for this particular context, I think in a weird way, over the years, over the decades or whatever, we've come to see work as more of a chore. I don't know. When I think about work, I feel like work is something that you should want to do. Obviously, there are jobs that you don't want to do, but I do think that when it comes down to work, people have this weird label that they give work. I've made other videos about this before. I made a video in the past kind of talking about how the reason why I feel like I can work more than most people is because my view of work is not the same as everyone else's view of work. A lot of people, when they see work, they see kind of like pain, suffering, a chore, just something they don't want to do. When I work, I see work as sort of a means to an end or sort of a means to grow myself. Like, I'm working on a comic book right now. That is work. It's work to learn how to draw. It's work to learn how to color. It's work to use all the software involved. It's work to actually sit there and draw the thing, to storyboard. That's work. I have a company. That's work. It's work to strategize in the company. It's work to come up with the copywriting for different ads or for different blog articles or stuff like that. It's work to deal with clients. It's work when you lose clients and you have to come up with a strategy so that way in the future you don't lose clients. It's all work. It's work to go to the gym. It's work to take care of yourself. It's work to diet. This is all work. But when I think of work, I don't see those things as like chores. To me, I see them as ways to just improve myself and just kind of like playing a game. Like, in the grand scheme of things, what exactly is work? Work is just you putting energy towards a task or activity. That's kind of the way I view work. When I see an 8-year-old sit there and play Call of Duty, that's work. It's work. Now, it's work in a different sense because if you're an 8-year-old playing Call of Duty, you're not really moving towards a long-term goal unless your, long-term goal as this 8-year-old is to be maybe an e-gamer or a professional Call of Duty athlete or whatever, a professional game player. They have those now, believe it or not. And if that is the case, then yes, you grinding, you doing the extra effort, you learning the fancy tricks, you learning the shortcuts, whatever it is based on whatever game you're playing, is work because it is a means to an end. If you're a bodybuilder, you going to the gym is work because maybe you want to be a professional bodybuilder. It is work. If you're someone who wants to be a professional copywriter, you learning how to write better, you learning how to type faster, you learning copywriting, you learning marketing from a copywriting perspective, that's work. The way I see it, everything's work. The difference is how you perceive the work you're doing. And I think for a lot of people, they see work as just something that's draining. When you can flip that mindset and view all work as just something that grows you, something that helps you grow and something that helps you get to the best possible outcome for your life. So I bring this all up just because I think there's a lot of people who are going to get to like 60s and 70s and maybe even 80s, and they might still have to work and they might be unhappy that they have to work. And I totally understand that. To that person or to those people, I would say, flip the way you view work. See work as a means to kind of get to an end. Figure out what the end goal is that you want to achieve and see work as a way to get to that point. I was on a podcast recently and we were talking about kind of the idea of retiring and the idea of work. And one of the guys, I think one of the podcast hosts said to me, what do you think life is kind of about? And I said to him, to me, life is about work. I told him life is about work and life's about ultimately fulfillment through your work. And so he kind of asked me to go a little bit deeper into that. And basically what I kind of said was, there's a book I read years ago called Ikigai. And in the book, it sort of documents the oldest living people in the world that have been documented. So the oldest documented living people in the world are the Okinawans and in Japan. And the Okinawans, on average, I think live to about 110, 120 years old. And so they went and interviewed a lot of these Okinawans and they said, what is it that you guys do that lets you guys live so long and you guys seem so fulfilled? What is it that you're doing? What are your strategies? And so the Okinawans said part of it's diet, part of it's walking around and just basic exercise. Nothing crazy, just like walking around more frequently, getting in their steps. But a lot of them said the biggest thing that they believe attributed to their long lifespan and to their overall fulfillment was they have purpose. And they found purpose through work. So even when they retired, they were still doing work. They found work to do. There was always something to be done. And I don't know, when I kind of heard that, to me, it was sort of that idea of redefining what work is. Like a lot of people, they get up in the morning, they go to work, they go to their 9 to 5 or their 8 to 4 or their 12-hour shift, whatever it is, and they do it begrudgingly. They think to themselves, oh, I have to do this. I have to go to work today. I have to do this. I don't want to do this. Where I think the real mindset should be, one, I get to do this because not everyone gets to work. Not everyone has the opportunity to do the job that you have. You might work in a very nice air-conditioned office in America. I think this, by the way, I'm saying this about myself as well. Sometimes I get that feeling too. And it's important to remember that other people don't have the opportunities that you have. And what you might consider a negative, someone would gladly trade for you in a heartbeat and consider that like the best opportunity in all of mankind. But yeah, but I think the other part of it too is kind of just redefining what work is and thinking about what the long-term strategy behind your work is. What do you hope to accomplish in life through your work? Do you want to leave an impression? Do you want to learn new skills? I don't know. This is kind of the way I think about it. So that's one of the main reasons why I don't want to retire. To me, I believe that just when people seek to retire, it's almost like they're shortening their own lifespans. It's like when you retire, what exactly can you do? Like, I think a lot of people have this idea that if they retire, they're going to just like spend every day on the beach having fun and just not having a care in the world. And I think for some people that might work pretty well. I think for a lot of people, if you really were to give them the chance to just sit around and do nothing all day, they'd get bored very quickly. And they'd find that it's not fulfilling. It's not interesting. I think there's actually been a lot of research done that most people die within like 5 years after retirement. And I kind of think the Ikigai belief or the Ikigai kind of concept applies there. The people who pass away shortly after retiring, they have no purpose in life. So there's no reason to keep living. There's no work to be done, which is why they cease to exist. So I guess what I'm trying to say is always have work to be done, regardless of age, like whether you're 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, whatever. There's always work to be done. There's always something you could be doing. You just need to redefine how you view work. One more story I want to leave you with before I end this video, before I ramble too long. When I was this is like years ago, I used to work at a gas station. And I remember I tried my best to kind of like familiarize myself with the customers that came in. I was going through my own self-improvement journey at this point. And I remember this one guy that came in a lot. He was a police officer. I think he was in his 60s. And I remember one day he came in and he was super excited because he had been, up until this point, counting down the days until his retirement. So like every couple weeks I'd see him and he's like, Lenny, a little bit closer to retirement, man. I'm getting close. Almost there. And I was like, oh, what are you gonna do when you retire? And he's like, I don't know, man, but for the first like 2 months of retirement, 2 or 3 months, I'm gonna go away to the Bahamas with my wife. We're gonna just chill, drink on the beach, go party, have fun. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a good time. So eventually time comes, he retires. I don't see him for about 2 or 3 months. He comes back in and I'm like, hey, how's it going, man? It's been a while. Like, how was your trip? How was your retirement? How's the retired life treating you? And he says to me, he's just kind of like, not gonna lie, Lenny, like, it's boring. I gotta get back to work. And I was like, really? Why is that? And he said that he thought retirement would be this, I guess, blissful, super happy experience. And after about a week or so of his retirement, he got bored. He's like, you can only relax for so long before it gets repetitive. And I think once he came back, he was trying to see if he can still like go back to working as a police officer, not like on the field, obviously, but doing some kind of like administrative work or something along those lines. But overall, the point that I'm trying to make is that, one, I think that's a good decision. I think just based on what I've read about people who retire and just based on how work motivates people and how work gives people a reason to be alive and how it gives them a sense of purpose, I think he made a fantastic decision. I also kind of just want to point out that him being away from work made him miss work in a sense. It kind of made him, it kind of forced him to shift his perspective on what work meant to him. For decades, he was looking forward to not working, and after a week of not working, he quickly realized work was actually great. Let's get back to work. I don't know. I don't want to ramble too long and make this like super, too long of a video, because I think you get the point. But yeah, if you're over the age of 60 and you're concerned that you're still working, despite me being younger than you, my message to you is this: work is not a bad thing. Work is a fantastic thing. What you need to do is shift your perspective on work, what work means to you, and what you hope to get from the work you're doing. I think that's the ultimate takeaway. Have a long-term goal. If you don't like the main job you do, see the main job as a way to get to the next job. Does that make sense? Like, see the job you're doing now as a means to move you toward maybe your ideal job or even your ideal hobbies. Some people don't like their 9-to-5 job, but I think if you reframe it and see your 9-to-5 job as a way to, say, finance your hobbies, then maybe the 9-to-5 job might not seem as bad, because it's allowing you to have fun, or it's allowing you to do the things you enjoy doing. So hopefully this makes sense. If I rambled too long, let me know down in the comments. If this video did not make sense, let me know in the comments. If you agree, let me know in the comments. And if you think someone else might get value from this video, please share it with them. Please like the video if you did like the video. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.